Greetings and welcome back. This video is going to actually be a follow-up to a comment on a previous video. The video I did about blanketing, I was rather hesitant to upload that one because I knew it was going to be controversial. It's kind of thing, like I said, it's a controversial subject, and I knew it would stir the pot and get a few people excited, and sure enough, somebody made a comment on that video. And just to make sure it doesn't get deleted, I actually copied it and reposted it under my name so it can't happen. So it's there for you to read, and I encourage you to go back to read it because it is exactly the kind of comments I was talking about in the video, where the question of why is not addressed. Leave my gloves alone, dear. Thank you. And, as best I can remember it, I don't have the comment here with me, but I'm going to go with, it starts off, they thought my comment about euthanizing old horses was kind of cold. Well, no, it's actually merciful because I do not ever want a decision that I make cause the horse to suffer. So I don't want to wait until the horse is suffering 24/7, before I actually do the right thing. That's why I suggested that older horses should be put down. I'm not cold. I don't want to see that happen. I got 3 here, and then, someday there's a possibility I might have to make that choice. And man, I'm not looking forward to it. It's not something I want to do. And, but I don't want somebody second guessing my decision after I do it either. So anyhow, they suggested that the horse would be more comfortable with a blanket, not that it necessarily needed one. Well, that's kind of a contradiction, because if it needs one to be comfortable, then it needs one. Does it need one or not? Really? And then the question is, how long do you keep that up? Until the horse is suffering 24/7 before you do the right thing? I don't want to let that ever happen. I don't want it to get to that point. And then on a more practical side, with the old horses, even once you start blanketing it, they can live for years. And I've seen that happen. And for years, it could end up costing you thousands of dollars to keep the thing, because there's, that's a fact. It's a given. It doesn't matter how you do it. If you keep it yourself or you board it, there's vet care, hoof care, feed, the blankets are a few $100, sort of thing for cheap ones. I don't know what the good ones are on. I haven't priced them out because I don't use them. But it's going to cost you money. And, I look at it this way: if I eliminate, the risk of suffering for that old horse, on a very practical level, I've actually helping 2 horses, because not only am I making sure that one doesn't suffer, but I'm freeing up time and resources to help another much younger horse that has a future. Because all that money that I would be spending keeping that old horse, I can now put that into helping a much younger horse that needs a home. And there's lots of horses out there that need homes. So I'm not being cold. I'm being quite practical. I'm being merciful. And I'm actually helping 2 horses, not just one. Okay, other comment they made, obviously, they don't know a whole lot about the medical side of things, because they thought my comments on the shivering were pretty silly. Well, if you understand how body temperature works, you'd know that if this body was to drop below its optimum temperature, the horse is going to die. It's called hypothermia. And the shivering prevents that. Do they feel cold? I don't know. I've never asked them. Do humans feel cold when they shiver? Well, yeah, but we're not talking about humans. We're talking about horses. Again, one of the big problems is people humanize horses. And as a result, we make a lot of silly choices that really aren't in the best interest of the horse, because we're applying them to humans, not horses. And, that's not how it should be. So, they thought the shivering was, my comment on that was silly. No, shivering serves a function. Would I be cold if I was shivering? I would feel cold, yes, but my core temperature is not going to be significantly lowered, not to the point where it's a health risk or anything, and that's my body's mechanism preventing that to happen, is shivering. So that's how shivering works. It prevents the core temperature from dropping. Okay, the final comment they made, and again, as I said in the video, the whole thing is why. Why do you blanket your horse? They made comment that they had one at their stable. It was the only one not blanketed, but they would blanket it at 0. Now, I don't know if that's Celsius or Fahrenheit. I don't know if that includes wind chill. They don't mention any of that stuff, but it doesn't really matter, because the one thing that really matters that they did not answer is why. Why do they think their horse needs to be blanketed? Oh, perhaps why do they think it needs to be blanketed at 0? And if it actually does need to be blanketed, why does it need to be blanketed? So, the typical comments, they want to justify what they're doing by saying they're going to do it. But, as I said in the video, address the question why. That's the thing that gets me is, people do not address the question why. In their comments, not once on any of those things did they address the question why. Well, I'm giving you the why, for what I do. Euthanizing the old horse, it's practical, prevents suffering of the old horse, and frees up my time and money so that I can help another horse. So that's why I believe that one. The whole thing is just practical from a medical standpoint. Like I said, the shivering prevents cold. Their core temperature doesn't drop, because if that happens, that's fatal. That's a serious issue. So if they're shivering, that's okay. They're preventing themselves from getting hypothermic and weak and sick and dying. So not a big deal. Okay, so anyhow, that is what I wanted to do. Like I said, rather than typing it all out, I thought it'd just be a whole lot easier to address it in a video. And like I said, go back and read the comment. You'll see what I'm talking about. It's exactly the kind of comment I was talking about in the previous video. I wasn't going to do another one. I didn't even want to do that one, because I know that every time you talk about blankets, people get all excited and have to voice their opinion to justify what they're doing and why they're doing it and everything else. And like I said, why? Answer that question. That's the only one you have to answer. And don't even bother telling me why. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. You're the one that has to live with it. It's your decision. You have to answer the question why for yourself. Okay? Have a good day.